is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Sports Out.
Last night, Irvin Santana reeled in the fish, leading the Braves to their first victory of this series against the Marlins. Tonight, it's an opportunity for Atlanta to salvage a split with their division rivals from the Sunshine State. First pitch is minutes away, right here on Sports South. It's turned into a beautiful night for baseball here in downtown Atlanta. Nice crowd filing into Turner Field for the Braves and the Miami Marlins. We wrap up our four-game series here at home tonight. The weather was not so good just a few short moments ago as we welcome you to the ballpark where Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. This was the scene for Ed Mangan and his ground crew, resolutely squeegeeing the outfield grass after the tarp dump. But we are going to have baseball. The skies are clearing. It's going to be a bright, sunny start to Game 4 of the series. And the Braves try to split the series at 2 games apiece. Hi again, friends, with Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. Welcome back to the ballpark where the Braves got on the board last night. Irvin Santana was outstanding. Freddie Freeman's hex held by the Miami starting staff ended with a long home run. But, Joe, offensively, that really wasn't the big story. That was the big blow. The big story was little things offensively for Atlanta.
And it started with B.J. Upton getting on base on the first pitch of the ball game to the Atlanta offense. And then the real good play began after the double. A good bunt by Tommy La Stella got him to third base. Justin Upton came up after a walk to Freddie Freeman and delivered a sacrifice fly that got the Braves on the board in the first inning with the first run. It's been said that the Braves really don't have the ability to manufacture many runs. But really in the last 6 weeks, they've done a great job of doing just that. You saw the good bunt there by Santana that set up an RBI hit by Tommy La Stella. So the fact that the Braves have not maybe hit as many home runs as we're used to seeing, they're doing the little things a whole lot better.
And they'll send a big man to the mound tonight. Aaron Harang has been a godsend for the Braves all year long. He's maybe the most pleasant surprise in the National League among starting pitchers. He gets the ball tonight against the Marlins, and he's had good luck against them in this ballpark this year.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he had the bad outing down in Miami where I thought the umpire really did him wrong, squeezed him a little bit. But as long as Aaron is right there, as long as he's down in the zone, down around the bottom line of the strike zone, he'll be successful as he was against the Phillies his last time out, throwing some shutout baseball and looking for win number 10 tonight.
He'll face Henderson Alvarez, a hard thrower who gets the ball on the ground for Miami. Braves hope to get even in the series and hopefully get even or pull to within a half game of the Nationals, I should say, in National League Eastern Division play. It's the Braves and the Marlins. Game 4 of the series coming up next after this quick break.
Baseball is presented by AT UVerse and Ford.
The Braves and Marlins ready to wrap up the series tonight in Atlanta. Braves coming off a win last night, looking for another, and the series split. Hey guys, I'm Jen Hildreth, and the Braves came into tonight's game, a game back of the Washington Nationals in the NL East. The Nats are off tonight, so the Braves have a chance to make up a little bit of ground on the division leaders. And talking to the players in the clubhouse earlier today, they were very aware of that opportunity and also of the importance of closing out this series with a win.
Obviously, we didn't get off to the way we wanted to in the start of the series, but we were able to get one yesterday, and hopefully we can continue that today. Aaron's been pitching great this whole season, so hopefully he can continue doing that tonight, and hopefully we can get some runs that we did early in the game and get him comfortable early on.
Yeah, we had some huge offense. Freddie Free hanging in there for us and getting a big knock was a big blow to them, and tonight is a huge night again. We just try and take it one night at a time and just go out there and hopefully we give ourselves a lot of chances to win.
Freddie Freeman snapped out of his slump with that big 3-run home run in the second inning last night. Jason Hayward went 2 for 4, extending his streak to 13 games of getting a hit against this Miami team. So hope to see those two guys continue that, bring their bats again tonight, and lead the Braves to a second straight win. As I said, the Bravos trying to gain some ground in the NL East and get the series split. Miami, Atlanta, first pitch on the way from Turner Field.
Baseball is presented by the Georgia Lottery, Toyota, and AT mobilizing your world.
Well, if you told me 45 minutes ago that this game would start on time and that we'd see blue skies overhead at Turner Field, I'd have said you're crazy. The skies opened up and poured here in downtown Atlanta for about an hour or so. But it's turned out to be a lovely night. Skies are clear. Harang's on the mound. The grounds crew has the field looking perfect. And we're off and running in Game 4 tonight against the visiting Miami Marlins. They come in 8.5 back. They're 47-53 for the season. And as Joe mentioned, you've got to control the top of this order if you want to beat the Marlins. Christian Yelich, Jordani Valdespin, and Giancarlo Stanton, first, second, and third on the Miami Toyota starting lineup card.
And for Aaron Harang, he makes his 21st start of the year. He's looking for his 10th win, and he has been on a roll. His last 5 starts, he's 4-0 with a 2.12 ERA. So he has reason to want to atone for some rough outings against the Miami Marlins in his career just 5-5 with a 6.25 ERA. His 4 keys to pitching success today: to be successful, which is the story for Aaron every time out. He's got to keep the ball down. He's got to stay down in the lower part of the strike zone and stay hot. He has been doing that as a result of his 4 straight wins over 5 starts. Hopefully that'll continue tonight.
Braves got to figure out a way to get this young man out. Christian Yelich hitting .379 in his last 14 games against Braves pitching, with 8 multi-hit games in those 14. After the rain shower cooled things off, we get things started at 74 degrees. A very slight breeze blowing out towards center.
We're talking about his road hitting streak. Yelich also has been hot since he came off the disabled list. He's only gone hitless in 2 of 19 games since then.
As is always the case, early runs are important, and prevention of them important for Aaron Harang. And he just struck out Yelich over the inside corner. That pitch was perfectly placed, and a good start. Strikeout number 1.
Check out our PNC pitch tracks on the first batter of the night. There it is, down in the zone, inside corner. Good start for Aaron.
The Braves had the strikeout pitch working last night. In 9 innings, they struck out 14 Marlins. That's one big reason why the Fish scored just 1 time in Game 3 of the series. Here's Valdespin. And a bell-high strike. Showed bunt and took a little low. Even count for Valdespin, who came up on July 19th from AAA New Orleans. Valdespin spent a full calendar year in the minor leagues. It was his first major league game since last July 13 when he was with the Mets. And a fly ball to left will be gathered in by Justin Upton. Valdespin's retired, and Harang's got 2 of the first 3 Marlins to start the game.
We were talking about Valdespin before or during Game 1 of this series when he played, that he kind of worked his way out of the Mets organization because he wouldn't show up on time. Sometimes got to the park very late. Real malcontent, if you will. Now, when he got called up by the Marlins, he was put on notice that he already had 2 strikes against him and he had to toe the line.
So the bases are empty for Giancarlo Stanton. We've talked a lot about how Ryan Howard loves hitting in this park. You cannot say the same for the Marlins right fielder.
Both of these lineups tonight against the respective pitchers have good numbers. Up and down the lineup there are good numbers against Aaron Harang and against Henderson Alvarez.
Harang 5-5 lifetime against the Fish. 16 big league starts. Last beat him in 2011. That was a 14-1 victory for Harang while he was a member of the Padres. So he's overdue to beat these guys. And Stanton stays alive at 2-2.
I liked what Freddie Gonzalez said about Aaron Harang. He said, I've gotten used to him, meaning he walks a few guys, but there's a method to his madness. He may pitch around a guy knowing that there's a guy down the order that he can pitch to and have better luck with. I'm not referring to Casey McGee necessarily here, but if there's guys on base, he'll look for that spot where the out is.
Back up the middle, and Stanton with a rocket is aboard with 2 outs.
There are times where you've seen pitchers make a skate save. You know, they'll stick their foot out there. This is not one of those times you want to do that. You can go through the motions and kind of act like, you know, turn your foot out a little bit, but you're really making sure it is not in the way of that.
So Stanton has his third hit in the series. Casey McGee's the batter. He has struggled so far in the first 3 games. McGee, you'll recall, entered the series tied for first in the league in hits. He has since been passed by Hunter Pence of the Giants. But still 4th overall in average with a .315 mark. And on a play, even count. McGee has been a wonderful find for Miami. He's knocked in 57 runs despite hitting just 2 homers. He's done an excellent job of protecting Stanton. And a high hopper hit out towards second. Tricky play, but La Stella made it.
That was weird.
Wonder what that hit. We'll have to take a look at the replay and let you know. Harangues through a scoreless first. Braves face Alvarez when we come back. That took a funny hop.
Yeah, right off the lip of the grass there. Catapulted it in the air and made it turn into a tough play for La Stella.
But Tommy made it. He'll bat second behind B.J. Upton. Those are the first 2 on Freddie Gonzalez's Toyota starting lineup tonight. One notable change. Ramiro Pena gets the start at shortstop for the Braves. Pena gives Andrelton Simmons his first day off since June the 18th. And Andrelton also has had trouble hitting Marlins right-hander Henderson Alvarez,
who's 24 years old, 6 feet 205, out of Venezuela. Got off to a tremendous start, but his last 2 have been a little rocky. Marlins were 10-0 in those previous 10 starts. And for Henderson Alvarez, since May 22nd, he has the 3rd best ERA in all of baseball, behind Kershaw and Felix Hernandez.
Now how about that first?
Yeah,
wind-up delivery.
That was interesting.
And then a much more standard delivery with the second pitch of the game.
Well, never seen that before, so something new every night.
And a strike over the inside corner. Alvarez got B.J. Upton looking.
3 straight pitches, and last one at 94. PNC pitch tracks. B.J. thought it might have been a little in. It wasn't. This guy's good. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight: La Stella and Pena, they're the only two guys in the lineup that have not faced him, and everybody else has had pretty good numbers against him. And shutout city, careful how you say that. He has 3 complete game shutouts this year. That leads the majors. He has excellent stuff. 89 to 96 fastball, slider, and a change.
He was part of Miami's big haul from Toronto that sent Bonifacio, Buck, Burley, Johnson, Reyes, and Cash north of the border at the end of the 2012 season.
Is Josh Johnson still pitching? Did the Padres let him go?
Either that or he's on the DL. I don't know the answer to that question. Is La Stella will be retired at first. Garrett Jones with the lead toss to Alvarez. 2 up, 2 down for Freddie Freeman. Alvarez, another kid. He's 24 years old, out of Valencia, Venezuela. He made his major league debut in August of 2011 against the A's. And now he'll stare down Freddie Freeman, whose first hit in this series was a big one in the 2nd inning last night.
There's another area you want to speed the game up. Keep catchers behind the plate. Pitcher went over to cover first in the 1st inning, and he goes out there to give him a breather. 7th inning, I get it. He's throwing 100 pitches. I get it. Come on, Salty.
2-0 pitch. One strike. Will last night's homer get Freddie going against the Marlins? Got a lot of games left with these guys. Two and two. Unbelievably, Freddie 3 hits and 47 at bats this year against the Fish.
That's an .064 average. Bingo.
That's bounced into the Braves dugout foul. It's 2-2.
Alvarez threw a no-hitter on the last day of the season last year for the Marlins against Detroit. And the oddity about it was they won it in the bottom of the 9th on a wild pitch.
And he was on deck.
Yes.
Amazing. We're off to a scoreless start. We head to the 2nd in Atlanta.
The Braves and the Marlins, and it is a very special time to be a Braves fan. Hey guys, I'm Jen Hildreth in for Tom Hart, who is on the ground in Cooperstown. He'll be reporting there live all weekend as we cover this special Hall of Fame weekend. You're going to want to make sure you tune in to Braves Live before and after the game. We will have special coverage as the 3 Braves inductees go into the Hall of Fame. What a weekend it will be. It's been a lot of fun leading up to it as well.
You're right, Jen. That's going to be a wonderful weekend. We are so very proud of the 3 Braves inductees. We're very proud of our colleagues, Tom Hart, Gretchen Caney and company. They'll be up there anchoring our coverage. And we'll have more from Cooperstown this weekend while the Padres are here. Garrett Jones to center. Upton drifts back, and PJ's got it for out number 1.
I know that Greg Maddux, or I learned yesterday that he's going in with a blank baseball cap.
Yes.
As opposed to a Cubs or Braves logo. Let's count him as a Brave, okay? At least half a Brave.
Yeah.
I wonder what the highest number of guys from one organization is going into the Hall of Fame in 1 year. Is that the most?
That's a good question. I don't know.
3 guys from one organization.
And that's what's so remarkable. Someone asked me earlier today, what does this weekend mean for the Braves? Everybody in Braves country knew how great those 3 men were as pitchers, and in the case of Bobby Cox as managers. But what incredible icing on the cake for the Braves organization to cap what happened here from 1991 to, frankly, the present day. As Ozuna pops one up, foul ground Freeman. He's going to have a play, and he makes it at the rail for out number 2. And Joe, it's quite possible the Braves aren't even done. You've got John Smoltz, you've got Chipper Jones, and John Sherholtz.
And I think there have been guys that, have, I don't want to use the word trickle, but one by one get into the Hall of Fame that played together. Another good play in foul territory by Freddie. But all at once, 3 guys at once, that's got to be close to a record.
Saltalamacchia, the hitter, with 2 outs. Can you remember a Hall of Fame class as large as this one in recent memory?
No, I can't. That's why I think it's really going to be, that town's going to be full. And I mentioned last night, it bears repeating, the Glavine entourage. I mean, I just can't imagine how there's going to be room for anybody else.
Between Tom Glavine and Tom Hart, I don't know if Cooperstown can take it. But we also congratulate Frank Thomas, great player with the White Sox, Joe Torre, and Tony La Russa, great skipper with the White Sox, Cardinals, and Oakland. And if you come to the ballpark here on Sunday, the gates will open in time for you to see all the Hall of Fame induction speeches, the pomp, the circumstance, and all. We'll be showing that on Braves Vision before the Braves and Padres meet at 5:05 Eastern Time. Full count pitch coming for Saltalamacchia. And Harang struck him out. Couple of strikeouts for Aaron so far. He's got 2 scoreless frames. Justin Upton leads off the Atlanta second. He's got a hot bat. 8 multi-hit games in his last 16 outings. Let's see what he can do in a scoreless affair next. He's with that gentleman at the ballpark tonight. Gorgeous.
All in their Braves gear. It's
awesome.
Great.
She's got that tomahawk thing working. A little sideways, but she's on her way. As we head to the home second. Again, the Braves will play the Padres this Sunday. Hope you'll join us to watch Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, and Bobby Cox be inducted into Cooperstown. You'll see it on Braves Vision. Then we'll take a look at the San Diego Ball Club, which features Jeff Francoeur. He was called back up, if you missed that story. And he had a hit yesterday for the Padres as they took on the Chicago Cubs, and they're playing in Chicago a little later on tonight.
Yeah, he was 1 for 3. Drove in a run with a sacrifice fly, drew a walk, so a good return to the big leagues for Frenchie.
Here in the Braves second, Upton, Hayward, and Evan Gattis are coming up. And Justin looks outside at ball 1. 18 homers for Justin. If you can hit one against this guy, you're doing something. That's one of the traits the Marlins love about Henderson Alvarez. When he's right, he gets the ball on the ground. Does not give up many homers.
And only 22 walks in 122 innings. His last 2 starts, we showed you that graphic, haven't been very good, but the last one was cut short by a line shot off his shin. It caused him to have to come out of the ball game. He only went 2 2/3 against the Giants, gave up 1 unearned run, and took the loss.
And Joe, I think we said this about Alvarez when we saw him in Miami. With the kind of numbers you just threw out, how does he ever lose?
I don't know, because his stuff is that good. He's got an excellent fastball, as we've already seen.
Little looper into shallow right. That's going to drop in front of Stanton. Justin Upton muscled that ball cleanly for the Braves' first base hit of the night.
But it is a pretty high batting average against him at 278. That's 133 hits now in 124 innings. So maybe he's one of those guys that throws too many strikes. Good fastball. Justin just fought it off.
Well, throwing too many strikes certainly didn't help Nate Eovaldi last night, did it?
No.
Braves blasted him in the first 2 innings and then got only 1 hit the rest of the way against the Marlins right-hander. Here's Hayward. And he takes downstairs. Jason Hayward, our Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot feature.
He's been so good and had such a good series in homestand. Good omen for the second half.
High hopper toward Echeverria. Tricky hop. And a good hard takeout slide by Upton. No chance for Valdespin to attempt the completion of the double play. And Hayward's in safely at first with 1 out.
Because the ball took a second hop in front of Echeverria, he had to glove that ball with the pocket of his glove actually facing down. He had to kind of smother it. And because he had to wait on that second hop right here, it gave Justin time to really get on top of Valdespin. Good, clean, hard slide.
Evan Gattis swings the first pitch and lines it towards center, and Ozuna with a tumbling diving catch. Heck of a play. 2 out.
Heck of a play. This gets by him. It's a run and a triple for El Oso Blanco. Outstanding play. And he did get it.
He's only made 2 errors out there in 99 games now. As well as he hits, maybe start thinking about Gold Glove stuff for Marcell Ozuna. Looked good on that play. Now Chris Johnson, the batter. Runner at first, 2 outs. Braves have been doing some running this year. They've stolen 58 bases. They've been caught 20 times. We saw Hayward's percentage. And Johnson unloads toward left. Yelich back on the warning track. That ball is gone. Chris Johnson's 8th home run. And Atlanta has a 2-0 lead here in the second.
You mentioned Eovaldi last night throwing too many strikes early, Chip. The Braves were teeing off on first pitch fastballs. Guess what this was? First pitch fastball coming back to the inner third of the plate, and it's like Chris Johnson, exactly what he was looking for. He's been on a home run tear for him. That's only the 8th homer Alvarez has given up.
And you're right about Johnson. Chris hit 3 homers in the first 90 games of the season. That's his 5th in the last 11 games. Ground ball by Pena out towards second. Romero is retired, and so are the Braves. But Jason Hayward reached on a force play, and then Chris Johnson deposits one into the seats in left. His 8th homer, his 42nd RBI, and the Braves off to a roaring start at home, trying to even up the series at 2 games apiece. Two-run homer in the home second inning. Now it's time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag SouthFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T.
Man, it's hot. Ball really jumped off his bat too, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Nice, really kind of a nice, easy, quick swing. Guy throwing this hard, you barrel it up, you got a chance.
Danny Echeverria, the shortstop, goes to work for the Fish first and is down a strike. I like this kid. Swinging the bat all right. Slick defender. Fun to watch him grow up in the National League East. Check swing into the seats and deflected foul. Ball and 2 strikes. Echeverria part of that trade with Toronto. And he's down on strikes. Harang's got the high heat working tonight. That's his 3rd strikeout in the game.
We've talked all year long about how at times the Braves have tried to go upstairs for a waste pitch, get the hitters to chase, but not too many pitchers are able to do that, and Aaron showed you how to do it right there. High target, got it above his hands, and we've seen earlier in the series how Echeverria will chase a fastball up.
Don't just lay one into this man. Henderson Alvarez can swing the bat. He's got a .237 batting average. This one's popped up. At third base, Chris Johnson drifts back. He's got plenty of room, and he makes the play for the second out. So Harang off to a terrific start, as Joe said. Wants him to stay hot. You'll see if he is on our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
Earned run average during the month of July. Aaron Harang is 5th in the National League, and he's 2-0 in the month of July to go with that. Tyson Ross right now not scheduled to pitch for the Padres here, but they still have a question mark, undetermined, for tomorrow night.
High fly by Yelich to left. Upton into the shadows now, makes the play, and that retires the side. 7 up, 7 down for Aaron Harang. Braves lead by 2 heading to the home third inning. All season long, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. Harang looks sharp. Chris Johnson has hit a homer. Night off for Andrelton Simmons, but that doesn't mean that the game day entertainment staff gets a night off. They have what's called a Simba Cam. Great spring training commercial for season tickets where one of the actors held up a young child in front of Andrelton Simmons, and that's what the home fans do with their youngsters.
Yeah, it's a great addition.
As we told you, the first time Andrelton has not started a game for the Braves since June 18th. Gives Ramiro Pena a chance to get 4 at bats and get some game action.
Just thinking about that Simba Cam. Next time Gabe comes to a game, he's not going to like this.
No balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, some of the fans were funny about that. I mean, the older kids were getting held up by the dads.
Yeah, there was some shaking going on. Yeah. A little teetering.
And Harang is down swinging. There's the start to the home third. Third strikeout for Alvarez tonight.
Hey, a shout out to our pal Dr. Joe Chandler, who is the Director of Medical Services Emeritus. He's watching tonight, and he is going to be going with the Braves entourage to Cooperstown, and he told me that this is definitely the highlight of his career in his relationship with the Braves, to be able to go up there with those guys when they get inducted. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, hoping Dr. Joe's going to have a few more chances to make the trip to Cooperstown, for there are a few other worthy candidates for the Braves who are not quite yet eligible. Smoltz, Chipper Jones, John Schuerholz, I think, ought to be in. As Upton inside out's a ball to right. Stanton can't get there and plays it on a hop. Good job to keep it in front. Actually, a good job to catch it on the bounce. And Upton's aboard with a 1-out hit.
Kept that one down. But it's kind of like his brother's hit the other way. Didn't exactly square it up, but he dropped it in a good place.
You know what, Joe? BJ keeps getting on base.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. No arguments out of the leadoff spot since he's been in there, and 2 hits last night, 2 runs scored.
A strike to Tommy La Stella.
Yikes. You can see pitch track shows us that was a generous call from Marty Foster, but puts the hitters on notice. Hack away.
I hate that it was called a strike on Tommy, but I like the fact that you hunt for strikes.
Me too.
It's a hittable pitch, right?
And I think Marty Foster's as good as they come.
Upton's running. La Stella swing and a miss. Saltalamacchia's throw. Beautiful and on target. Franny Gonzalez is going to come out and talk about this one with Alan Porter. He's the second base umpire who made the out call at second base.
That was a tremendous catch and throw by Saltalamacchia. He got rid of that ball so fast. That's the only thing that kept it close. His transfer to his hand, his feet shifting. Where did he tag him? Looked like if he tagged him at all, it was on the back foot, the tucked foot. Yeah.
So Porter got it right. Horacio Ramirez in the Braves locker room had that angle and signaled don't challenge the call.
Yeah. Got that back foot before the front foot got to the base. But Saltalamacchia, what a great defensive play by him.
He only caught about 20% of all the base stealers he's faced. Marlins have thrown out a couple of men in this series, and that's been costly for Atlanta, and it was here in the third inning. La Stella rolls out. Aaron Harang goes back to the mound for Atlanta in the fourth inning. He's been staked to an early 2-0 lead.
and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
Aaron Harang pitching a beauty tonight. He's allowed one Miami hit, and he's got to face Valdespin, Stanton, and McGee in the fourth. Joe, you asked earlier tonight about the size of the Hall of Fame class and whether or not there were 3 teammates ever to go into the Hall of Fame in the same class. Some fans on Twitter told me this is the second time in baseball history this has happened. For the Braves, who do it in 2014. The first time that happened was in 1946. 3 Cubs who are forever linked with baseball and poetry. I'll explain after the pitch. The poem went, "These are the saddest of possible words. Tinker to Evers to Chance. Trio of bear cubs, fleeter than birds. Tinker to Evers to Chance." It was Johnny Tinker, Joe Evers, and Frank Chance, the first baseman. That was the
very impressed.
Ruthlessly pricking our Gonfalon bubble, making a giant hit into a double. Words that are weighty mean nothing but trouble. Tinker to Evers to Chance.
Oh, I thought you were back to normal. I didn't know you were still in the poem.
You of all people should know I'm never normal. Listella. And a short hop throw to first. Freddie Freeman couldn't corral that, and that's an infield hit.
That was almost a tremendous play. Good try by Tommy. Fast runner. I'm not sure they're going to get him even if Freddie digs it out. Almost got him though. You know, the oddity about that to me, about Tinkers, Evers, and Chance, is that Tinkers and Evers hated each other.
Yeah. They had an argument and didn't speak.
Yeah.
And they were double play partners.
Right. For years, and they hated each other and probably aggravated that they had to go in and share the stage with one another.
Joe Tinker's name lives on in the Sunshine State as Stanton takes outside, ball 2. The Braves, of course, have spring training down at Walt Disney World. The Minnesota Twins used to train in downtown Orlando. In a cozy little ballpark right by the Citrus Bowl called Tinker Field.
I didn't know that it was named for him. Played there in spring training.
Two and one for Stanton, and now 2-2.
Good pitch. Started it at the middle of the plate, and it was up a little bit. Moved a little bit away from him.
Low and into Stanton, full count. I think he got to a full count in the first, and Giancarlo rifled one past Harang's right leg. So be careful here. That's over the Braves dugout and out of play. Foul. We'll do it again. Got a couple more series left with Miami. And Stanton will take a walk. Rough start for Harang here in the 4th inning. An infield hit, and now a walk. And that'll bring up Casey McGee. Braves will play the Marlins again at the end of August, the final 3 games of that month. They'll also play them down in Miami the first weekend in September, and then we'll be finished with them. We will then become huge Marlins fans because if memory serves, Joe, they play the Nationals a lot over the final 2 weeks of regular season play.
I think even the last series of the year. Yeah, 3 at Washington.
McGee swings the first pitch and drives it to right. Hayward is there. Valdespin thinks about tagging. He's not going anywhere. Look at that throw from Jason. He is some kind of fun to watch out there.
Well, and what's really good about it is when you develop a reputation as a good, solid, fundamental outfielder, a guy who makes good throws, hits cutoff men, then all of a sudden nobody's willing to try and take that extra base. You know, and Aaron Harang in that start against Philadelphia, 6 innings, he gave up 5 hits and 3 walks. So there were some base runners out there, but nobody crossed the plate. Nobody touched the old Pentagon.
Garrett Jones hits and looks at a strike.
And it's more evidence of how he has pitched in and out of trouble a lot this year and knows how to do it, knows how to get out of it, doesn't panic.
I know you had Harang with 9 wins at the All-Star break for the Braves, right?
Yeah, I marked it down. Let me see where I had that. I'll get back to you.
Can you imagine where this team would be without him?
Yes. 3rd place. Aaron's been working at a very rapid pace. Don't want to slow him down here. Get together on the signs.
At the knees. Jones wasn't sure about that.
Cody Foster, after that call, was shaking his head no. I don't know if he got some grief from the Marlins dugout. Maybe somebody over there yelled that was low. Well, it wasn't. The NC Bank pitch track says it was not.
Nice stop by Evan. And now a ball and 2 strikes. "17 quality starts for Harang this year. That's 3rd most in baseball. Braves are 12-8 in his 20 starts so far this season. Harang with 9 victories. And leading tonight. Slow tapper out towards short. Pena's got it. He'll step on the bag and throw to first. And that's going to end the inning. Nice play by Ramiro Pena. The ball perfectly placed for the Braves shortstop to complete a 6-3 inning-ending double play. We go to the home 4th. Freeman, Justin Upton, and Jason Hayward coming up. Atlanta's defensive work continues to shine tonight. They enjoy an early lead over the Fish. Justin Upton and Jason Hayward are coming up. Time for tonight's AT&T Uverse trivia question. Ooh, against which former teammate did Tom Glavine record his most career strikeouts?
Wow. You suppose it was somebody that he played with like in 90 or 91 and then faced him a lot after that?
It could be anybody.
Yeah.
That's a great question. We'll think about that one for a bit. As Freeman takes the ball in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I've got a name already.
Do you?
Yeah, Ron Gant. When Ron went to play for the Reds and Cardinals, that's a possibility. No offense, Ron. I wasn't thinking of you in terms of strikeouts, just in terms of a lot of at bats.
Well, I like the way you think about a right-handed hitter because teams didn't really throw a lot of lefties at Tommy until later in his career. So Gant's a good guess. As Freddie took a fastball too high and tight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A 2-out, 2-run homer for Chris Johnson. All the offense for Atlanta tonight. That's all they've needed against Alvarez. And a second for the first out. Freddie's 0 for 2. And there's the first out of the inning. Here's Upton.
Freddie hit that ball sharply last night. He was talking to Tom after the ball game about the home run. He said he felt good about that, but he also hit the ball hard 2 other times, so he thought that was a good sign. Struck out his first time up tonight, but hard hit ball to Valdespin there.
Freddie talked with Jen before the game. I think you heard her conversation with Freeman just as we came on air and in Braves Live. He talked about taking flips to try to get his swing back. What does that drill do for a slumping hitter?
And Greg Walker has said in the past, anytime Freddie goes into a bit of a rut, that's about all they have to do to get him back going again is a little soft toss, some flips to. It's somebody who's tossing the ball from a very short distance, maybe 20 feet, 30 feet. So it's kind of rapid fire, and you've got to react to the ball quickly. Use your hands so that there's not a lot of wasted motion. Braves do that a lot. That's how Scott Fletcher got hit in the foot with that line drive.
And broke a toe.
Yeah. Poor guy had to wear a boot.
Bless his heart. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Upton strokes one toward left center field. That's going to get down. Yelich will try to cut it off before the track. He did. But Upton's going to glide into second. He's got a sliding double. And he's in scoring position in the Braves' 4th with 1 out.
He put a beautiful swing on this. It's a 91-mile-an-hour pitch, 2-seamer that he was trying to get to back up. And Justin really waited on it. Great point of contact, but his head was really still. Just a beautiful swing. He had his hitting streak snapped last night, but he's started another one tonight.
So 9 multi-hit games for Upton in his last 17 played. A 2 for 2 night. And that'll bring up Jason Hayward. Hayward the other way. Nice diving stop. McGee, who scrambles to his feet and gets Hayward at first for the 2nd out.
Dadgummit, that was a good play, and he was playing him so far off the line. That's the only reason he was able to even dive and get leather on it. Tough break for Jason. Look how far off the line he was. Nice play by McGee.
Yeah, he's not just a bat in this Marlins lineup. McGee's made just 6 errors this year at third base. He was there for the taking. Miami got him, and they're glad they did. Here's Gaddis. And Evan looks outside. He hit the sinking line drive to center that Ozuna caught.
And that was on the first pitch, and they started him this time with a breaking ball.
Evan's been pretty consistent in saying his back feels great. He's got no limitations, no issues, but it's a question of timing now. Getting a swing back to where it was before he got hurt, and where it was a real good place. Evan was hitting .290 at the time of his injury. And he rolls over this one, hits it to short, and Chavarria charges and makes a beautiful throw on the run. And that retires Atlanta in the fourth. Upton stranded at second. Braves lead by 2 with Ozuna, Saltalamacchia, and Echeverria coming up. Chris Johnson's hit a homer. Aaron Harang's pitching a beauty. And he's got the bottom part of the order coming up for the Fish. The 5th annual alumni weekend is coming up for the Braves Friday, August the 8th. As the pitch popped up by Ozuna down the right field line. Long run Freeman. He's already made one of those plays in this series. But that one too far out of reach. The Nationals will be here August 8th through the 10th. Braves alumni roll call on the field before the game. Great opportunities for autographs. Then Saturday we have the pregame Legends versus Legends softball game. Greg Maddux will be here. Tom Glavine, Steve Avery, Sid Bream, Ryan Klesko, Nuxie, Javi Lopez, Brian Jordan, Mark Wohlers, and many, many more.
As I said before, and one of the great thrills about that softball game is just seeing how many times John Smoltz can pop up in slow pitch softball. It's pretty amazing. He hits him high.
Lighter foul out of play. That's my favorite weekend of the year. The Legends weekend. The Braves have done under Greg McMichael such a wonderful job of welcoming the alumni back and making them relevant again. I'm not suggesting that people have forgotten about all the Braves greats, but we live in such a fast-paced instant information society that I think people do forget. Hey, I remember Jeff Treadway and I remember Javi Lopez. Obviously it's great to see him back. Great to see the reaction of the fans when their older heroes get back out on the field and have a good time.
Well, I know you like it because you were a bat boy for a bunch of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell you what a small world it is. During our trip to Chicago, wife and kids and I were walking up and down Michigan Avenue. Of course, we went to one of the stores.
Can't imagine.
Anyway, one of the ladies there struck up a conversation with my wife. She was Brian Asselstein's sister-in-law. I said, "You're kidding." She said, "Nope." Yeah, Brian. Remember Brian from the old days with the Braves? And
sure. No, it's a great weekend. The Yankees have always been good at their Old Timers Day festivities. But what the Braves and Greg McMichael have done over the last 4 or 5 years of getting this thing rolling, it is something else. And it's not easy to do. So wonderful work by all involved. And Greg kind of spearheading everything with the alumni.
good at bat for Ozuna. He draws the second walk of the game from Harang. And Miami has its leadoff man on in the second straight inning. What strikes me too, Joe, is something that I'll never understand because I didn't play in the major leagues, but some of these guys will come to town. They haven't seen their former teammates in 10, 15, 20, 30 years sometimes. They get together in uniform on that field, and it's like they saw each other 3 days ago.
Yeah. Some of the same comments carry over.
Salty struck out his first time and drives one out of play foul. Nothing in 1 year count. So that's a fun weekend. Got the Nationals in town. It'll be when the Braves return from their upcoming road trip to LA, San Diego, and Seattle. That's going to be a star-studded homestand for the Braves beginning August 8th. 3 with the Nationals, 4 with the Dodgers, and then back to interleague play with a 3-game series with the Oakland A's.
We've been talking about that tough schedule that's coming up in August, but between now and the end of the year, the Braves still have 3 road trips of 10 days or more. Those can really gnaw at a team near the end of those 10-day trips too.
One and 2 for Saltalamacchia, and he lines one over short. That's headed for the gap, and that's trouble. Ozuna around second. He's on his way to third. Saltalamacchia is going to stand at second with a double, and the Marlins have another threat. They put the first 2 on in the 4th inning. They've got 2 on here to start the 5th. This time, though, both runners are in scoring position.
Well, you mentioned a good at bat by Ozuna to draw the walk, and some real aggressive good swings by Saltalamacchia in this at bat. He fouled off a couple. He didn't miss this one. Good pitch by Harang on the outside corner, but Saltalamacchia went with it. Found the gap.
12 doubles for Saltalamacchia. Now Echeverria hits. Aaron struck him out. And gets ahead with a called strike. Number that might surprise you when you look at the Braves and Marlins. Miami's outscored Atlanta this year. The Marlins start play tonight with 413 runs scored. The Braves began with 389 runs scored. Atlanta 85 homers, Miami 81.
They've got a pretty good advantage in the head-to-head runs scored too.
One ball, one strike. And out of play foul. At 1 and 2. It'll be interesting over the years to come, see what kind of club the Marlins build. They play in a gigantic home ballpark. Stanton makes that place look like a bandbox, but he makes every park look that way. But I would think the Marlins would love a contact hitting, gap hitting club. And a little flare into shallow right. It's going to drop for a hit. That's going to score the first Miami run. 3 straight Marlins have reached, and the leadoff walk comes home to roost for Harang, and we've got a 1-run game. And now they're at first and third for the pitcher.
That looked like a good pitch too. No, it was up, but it was running in on him, tied him up, and he just took an inside out approach, flared it to right. That wasn't even a strike. And he still gets a hit and an RBI.
Let's see how Alvarez plays it here. He tipped his hand. He showed bunt after Harang made the attempt to first base.
He's got 7 sacrifices. So not only can he swing it, he must be able to get those bunts down too.
Strike 1. Marlins have played the Braves very tough this year. And they're trying to come back tonight after trailing by 2 runs early. Braves are 6-6 this year against Miami. The Braves are 7-6 against the Mets, 8-5 against Tom McCarthy's Phillies, and Atlanta's beaten the Nationals 7 out of 10 times. Atlanta 28-20 within the division.
If he is still bunting here, that high fastball might be a good call again.
He was bunting and it's foul. So Alvarez, normally a reliable bunter, can't get one down. That's the first out of the inning. And now the double play still in order for Harang, but Yelich the hitter.
Just a well-placed jinx is all it was. Brag on him about his bunting ability. We got a good pitch to bunt too, but he was on his heels a little bit.
Yelich is hitting to 5 double plays. A 6th would be welcome here. Ground ball to second. There's one. Pena's got to hurry. Not in time. Yelich beat the Rapid first, and the game is tied at 2. Harang got the ground ball, but Yelich outran the baseball, and Saltalamacchia ties it up.
That's exactly what happened.
Second baseman number 1, Jordani Valdespin.
Was not a hard hit ball, but a quick feed from La Stella, and maybe an accurate throw, a good throw, beats him, but it was going to have something on it about chest high. Almost got it done.
So let's see if Yelich does some running. He's got 12 steals. He knocks in his 34th run, and the Marlins, with 2 in the 5th, have tied it up. In the air to center, and BJ is going to catch that. Lead off walk caused all kinds of problems for Aaron Harang in the 5th inning. Miami ties it up. Yelich's ground ball allows Saltalamacchia to score the tying run for the Fish. We're tied up. This time it's a 2-2 game. Miami just scored 2 in the top of the 5th inning. The Braves 2 runs came on Marzaxby's indescribably good play.
And I mean, this ball jumped off his bat. 2-run shot. Guy almost broke his back jumping for that one. But for Chris, his 8th homer of the year, and RBI's 41 and 42.
Three homers in the first 90 games for Chris. 5 homers in the last 11 for Chris. And to hit a home run against this guy, you're doing good work. Alvarez does not give up many. Major League Baseball's trading deadline is 1 week away. Big deal last night. The Tigers got their man for their bullpen, huh?
Yeah.
Joakim Soria went from Texas to the Tigers. And the Mariners made a deal today, trying to boost their flagging offense. They brought Kendry Morales back from the Twins.
A lot of people wondering why the Twins even signed Morales, but that was about a month ago, roughly, maybe a little more. I think it was perhaps for this reason.
McGee at the third base bag gets Chris for out number 1.
Figuring some teams would see him get his swing down, get going, and then be a very attractive piece to maybe get a young player or two at the trade deadline.
And for Seattle, that's a nice trade because they know Morales. They had him.
Yeah.
He was a Mariner. And we will see Seattle at the end of the upcoming road trip. We'll be in the Pacific Northwest August 5th and 6th. Romero 0 for 1. This is his first start since July 10th. When he played against the Mets, he started at third base that day. Tonight he's the Braves shortstop.
Freddie Gonzalez said at the end of that last road trip that he needed to start implementing his players off the bench more. He felt like they had not had enough playing time. Try to rotate them in a little more often.
Wonderful to see some of that against the Padres coming up. San Diego, a club that really struggles to score runs. Got a good pitching staff. San Diego at 44 and 56 starting play tonight. Padres already scored a couple of runs tonight. They lead the Cubs 1-0 or 2-0, I beg your pardon, in the first. Pena goes the other way. A 1-out hit for the Braves shortstop, but now Aaron Harang hits.
Be interesting to see where this pitch is because he had gotten him to chase something hard away. He just missed his location. Supposed to be coming in and a little bit down, and then he left another one up and away, and it's like Romero said, okay, you beat me out there once, you're not going to do it again. But a good swing on it.
Harang pushes a bunt down the first base line. Alvarez has only one play and he makes it. That's Harang's 7th sacrifice. And now B.J. Upton hits with a runner in scoring position and 2 out.
Nice job. Bat at the top of the strike zone. Well done.
Let's see who's more aggressive on the first pitch, B.J. Upton or Henderson Alvarez. right after him, didn't he?
Pretty much how he went after him in the first inning when he struck him out looking. He was heating him up.
That buzzed the tower, and Upton backed away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, for the first year plus in a Braves uniform, with isolated exceptions, a couple of walk-off hits for BJ that night where he and his brother hit home runs in the 9th inning to win a game, I think, against the Cubs last year. It never looks like BJ's having any fun. You know, he's struggled so much, but lo and behold, since he's been leading off, he looks like he's having fun playing again. And strikeouts come along for him, but they don't seem to kind of have a weight and a heaviness to them that he had to carry around all the time, because he's doing other things to get on base and score runs.
This is his 25th game tonight in the leadoff spot. He's hitting .250. He scored 19 runs in those 25 games. And since Upton has moved to the #1 spot, the Braves are playing .667 baseball. He's helped the Braves to a 16-8 record in those 24 games. So you're right.
When you're doing some things to help your team win, boy, does that put a little hop in your step. But it just looks that way. You just watch him and it just appears that he's finally having some fun playing baseball again in a Braves uniform.
And a good at bat. He draws a walk. That prolongs the inning. And now Tommy La Stella is the hitter. Here's a fun matchup.
PNC Bank pitch tracks. Saltalamacchia didn't help him there. It didn't help his pitcher. He kind of chased that ball down with his glove, made it look lower than it was. Looked like it caught the bottom of the zone there on the pitch tracks.
La Stella this year with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, hitting a hefty .348. Overall, with RISP, he's hitting .341. Much of that work came batting lower in the batting order for the Braves. It's 7th a lot. Freddie Gonzalez on this homestand has moved him into the 2 spot, and Tommy has RBIs in the last 2 games, hitting 2nd. Chance to put the Braves in front with a 2-out knock here with Pena at 2nd, Upton a big lead at 1st.
Tommy proved to them last night against Eovaldi that he can turn on something inside. When he singled to drive in that run, pulled it out over 2nd. Alvarez that time went in on him, but he went way in. And as you can see, Tommy doesn't stand on top of the plate. He's more in the middle of the box.
One ball, 2 strikes. Freeman's on deck.
Here's a good look at where he is relative to the plate.
La Stella has 23 RBIs this year. 13 of them have come in this situation. Runners in scoring position and 2 out. Let's see what he gets with an even count here. Down the left field line. Can he keep it fair? No. This kid's been fun to watch, hasn't he?
Yeah, nice job there. Looked like an attempt at a backdoor pitch, maybe a cutter or a two-seamer. Yeah, two-seamer. He was trying to run away from him, and it did. And Stella had it covered. Go away. See if they come in now.
Bouncing ball to short. Echeverria's got it. And the flip to second. A close play. But the ball arrives an eyelash before B.J. Upton. The Braves threatened but failed to score in the 5th. We're still tied at 2.
Ball game in Atlanta, but for a while there the rain was threatening, but in our Home Depot tools from the dugout, we are going to credit Ed Mangan and the Braves ground crew for the good use of their tools, getting this field ready to play, getting us ready to play ball. Now, it was coming down here at Turner Field about an hour before the game, but they got it all cleared up and ready to go, and that allowed this group right here, having their bachelorette party for this young lady, to celebrate, wear these beautiful headbands. One last pitch before Joe gets hitched. Tell you what's a very important tool. Let's show them, Joe. This one right here, boys.
Oh, bling. Bling and feathers.
Nice. These are nice.
Yeah.
They were very creative. They made their own shirts, too. I'm impressed.
That's a good-looking crew.
Very nice, girls.
Proving once again, Joe, that diamonds are indeed a girl's best friend.
Well, where else?
Right. Ground ball up the middle by Stanton. He's got a couple of hits to center tonight. And the Marlins are getting their leadoff man on with frightening regularity now. That's 3 straight innings. And here's McGee.
Well, Aaron was just a short hop away from saving that second run in the 5th by getting a ground ball off the bat of Yelich. He just, as you said, outran the baseball to first base. Maybe he can get another ground ball here.
McGee's their team leader in double plays. 18 of them. That's about the only thing that would blemish what's been a terrific offensive season. quickly ahead of him. No balls, 2 strikes.
Oh boy, there was another bad dive for a $3 foul ball. Ow.
Double play ball. Pena to La Stella 1. There's number 19. Love it when they follow the script. Bases empty, 2 outs.
Aaron got ahead of him in the count and then made the pitch he needed to make to get him to swing at his pitch.
So McGee 1 for 14 in the series. The Marlins had a great note on him for the game tonight. As Jones smacks one into right field for a 2-out single. Casey McGee has gone hitless in back-to-back games for the first time since May 22nd and May 23rd. That's a 50-game stretch without an 0 for 8 or an 0 for 9. Amazing.
This was not so routine for Tommy La Stella. Stanton didn't slide till real late, and he's gigantic. So Tommy, while he might have been ready to go sidearm, all of a sudden had to get that ball up over Stanton, and it became not so routine on the throw over, and that's why Freddie Freeman had to stretch for it.
What's the ballet move when the ballet dancer goes on the tippy toes? What's that called?
Well, it's not a plie. That's
Maybe.
when they do a little. Oh, never mind. If I answer that,
that was not a loaded question.
People
by the way.
don't think I know the answer to that.
Well, my point was, we talked about the ballet at second base.
Yes.
La Stella needed to go on his tippy toes to throw it over Mike Stanton's head.
I don't know. I'm gonna go Swan Lake. I don't know what it's called.
I'm just glad we could turn
pirouette. Thank you. Somebody in the truck.
I'm just glad we were able to turn 2-2 on the play.
Gary Lehman came up with the pirouette. Leave it to him.
So that makes him the real G Money now. I didn't know Gary was such a ballet fan. Who knew? Out of play foul by Ozuna. Full count. Let's see if Jones takes off at first. Figure he will in a tie game. Ozuna's walked, popped out, and has scored one of the 2 runs. Runner goes. Popped up. La Stella drifts out. Hayward comes in. He'll be under it. And he's Johnny on the spot to retire the side. 3, 4, and 5 coming up for the Braves. It's a tie game, 2 apiece. not 2-2, but 2 with a W and a 2 with a W. As we promised you earlier tonight, we have our AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to #SouthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T.
Chuck McCraney and his band of renown at the ballpark.
Did you see his Twitter name?
I did not.
Chuckles13.
So we got a clarification from one of your 9
followers.
No. One of your 9 social media outlets.
Yes.
Responded.
All precincts reporting in as Freeman fouls one back. We're obviously not all caught up on all the technical terminology of ballet. Baseball's tough enough. It's not a pirouette when you go on your tiptoes, we're told.
You know, Gary bagged us again.
Yep. He meant to say it's called on point.
He may have said that. He may have said that, and I just didn't hear it clearly.
Because we're never on point. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball to first. Alvarez to the bag, and there's the first out of the inning. You know, now that we think about it, Gary kind of does look like Rudolph Nureyev.
It's been said many times.
Here's Justin Upton. Two for 2 is Upton tonight. He's singled, he's doubled.
That double his last time up. I was talking about how still his head was on the swing. Look from the side. Now it just stayed in one spot. Everything worked around his torso. Good hands. Hips opened up. That was just a beautiful swing.
Justin has 5 hits in the series now. He's bumped his average to 286. 18 homers, 57 knocked in.
This day and age of one-handed swings, top hand coming off the bat, you rarely see that from Justin Upton. It is a two-handed swing, two-handed follow-through. Which makes it a quick finish.
In the air to right. That's going to get down. Upton's 3 for 3. When he hits the ball the other way, he's about ready to go on a big tear, and he's done that all year at home.
Not a whole lot unlike the pitch. It was closer to a strike than the one to Echeverria that he fought off. Echeverria not anywhere near as strong as Justin, but had to pull his hands in to try to get the barrel there. Didn't quite get the sweet spot to the baseball, but he did get enough of it.
8th 3-hit game of the season for Upton. 7 of the 8 have come here at home for Justin, where he's hitting .322 at the start of tonight's play. Jason reached on a forced play and scored in the second, grounded out to third, and was robbed by McGee.
Pretty sunset tonight.
Loop toward short, and the catch and throw back to first is going to be not in time. Jones had his feet tangled up at the first base bag. That was very close to being a double play.
Yeah, that was his fault. I thought Echeverria got the ball to him in time. If he'd had his foot on the bag, they'd have gotten the double play, but he didn't. sure where he went. You know, why Jones was behind the runner there when he had been holding him on. He got in a weird spot.
And I think Mike Redmond's going to come out and challenge that call at first base. With the naked eye, of course, the players and the managers alike see ball beating runner back. They think automatically he's out. Question is, did Jones have the bag when he first caught the ball and then made the awkward step?
And didn't know it.
Right.
And so he makes another stutter step with his right foot to try to get the base. Yeah, he had it. He had the back corner, but when he put that right foot down, that's what influenced Rob Drake to thinking that he had kind of pirouetted over there.
Nicely done, yes.
Yeah, he was on the bag.
So the call on the field was safe. There has to be clear and convincing evidence on replay to overturn, and he looks like he got the bag with the left foot.
That would have been hard for Rob Drake to see, too, from his angle. Yep. Good camera work, folks.
So if I had to give you my opinion on this one, I think this one's going to be overturned, and it will go in the Marlins' favor, and it will be an inning-ending double play. So again, the call on the field was safe. We'll see if the video evidence was clear enough and convincing enough to double up Justin Upton at first.
Oh, they got a busy signal in New York.
You know, they had one of those busy signals in reality in the very early days of replay. I think the Minnesota Twins were on hold. They had to wait 6, 7, 8 minutes for a replay to even get started.
No.
And
really?
I think it forced Ron Gardenhire to take his pitcher out of the game. Not enough operators at Replay Central that particular night.
Thank you for your call. Will you please hold? Press 1 for.
Thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're close to a decision. And the verdict is he's out. So the call is overturned on review. And at the end of the day, the umpires and the video got it right. So a line out double play ends the Atlanta sixth. Good play by Echeverria. And the pirouette of Garrett Jones at first sends us to the seventh inning. Ballet, but we sure know sunsets. Man,
pretty one tonight.
Seventh inning for Aaron Harang. He's got the lower third for the Fish. Be nice to see him get the leadoff man. It's Jared Saltalamacchia, who's doubled, scored, and struck out.
A couple of guys that have been on point have been both pitchers.
Line drive headed for the right field corner. That's trouble. Saltalamacchia chugs around first. He's on his way to second. And the Marlins have another leadoff man on. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 straight innings now. And he represents the go-ahead run.
He had a big home run earlier in the series and gets one right down the pipe. Remember, he took an outside pitch to left center for his first double and now turns on one down the middle. So a homer and 2 doubles in the series in the 3 games that he's caught.
Let's see if Echeverria has matured as a hitter. His job gets Saltalamacchia to third base. Echeverria has struck out and he's singled home a run. He doesn't. He hits it right to the third baseman. No advance. That helps. 1 out.
Came right in on him. Remember, he fought one off for a hit his last time up, but came right in on him to tie him up so that he couldn't inside out anything to the right side. Another good piece of good pitching.
Won't know, but had he gotten the runner to third, I wonder if Redmond would have pinch hit for Alvarez. He has Ramos up and throwing in the Miami pen.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, he pointed out he's a good hitter. If he was at third base and 1 out, they might let him hit.
A 72-mile-an-hour breaking ball had Alvarez way out in front.
That was a beauty. By the time the pitch got there, Alvarez was almost facing the pitcher with his shoulders facing the pitcher. In fact, they were.
Aaron humped up to 75 on that one and has Alvarez behind 0-2. Catcher's speed at second. Alvarez grounds toward third again. Chris Johnson looks the runner back, throws to first in time. Harang's gotten 2 ground outs to the left side of the infield, just what he wanted. And now the top of the order for the Fish with 2 outs.
2 good pitches to the 8th and 9th hitters in the order, but he's still got his work cut out for him here. Here's a spot where now we are in the 7th inning. Alvarez had hustled down the line. Yelich has been giving him time to get back to the dugout. Now he's walking to the dugout. Normally, if it weren't a tie game, you'd take a pitch for your pitcher to give him a chance to get back to the dugout and rest a second. That may not be the case here. Didn't matter.
Gaddis might have been crossed up. Yelich started play tonight with 6 hits in the series. He's 0 for 3, but does have an RBI tonight. Valdespin is the next hitter. He waits well off the on-deck circle for the Fish. Getting a good look at Aaron Harang here with a 2-0 count to Yelich. It looks like, Joe, they're going to pitch around him with first base open and go after Valdespin.
Not a bad call. Not the way Yelich has hit in this series. Drew just handed me an interesting note. When Aaron Harang goes 6 1/3 or more innings, the Braves are 6-0. When Alvarez goes 6 1/3 or more, the Marlins are 9-0.
Both starters have looked awfully good tonight, so something's got to give on a 3-1 count. And Yelich took it. So from 3-0, Joe, to 3-2 now.
Two great pitchers' pitches. Could be Yelich thought they were pitching around him too.
Well, whether the at-bat is successful or not for Yelich, it has been successful for the Marlins in this regard. Long rest for Alvarez. Salty, a good lead at second for Miami. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And out of play to the left.
Three really good pitches in a row from Aaron. When it looked like he might pitch around him, he really painted some corners with 2 strikes and then busted that one in on him. In the too close to take category for Yelich. Same spot. Yelich is 6'4", 6'5", does not crowd the plate. We've seen him really hit the ball sharply to left field, and they're trying to keep the ball in on him so he can't get the barrel to it.
Struck him out. What a sequence by Aaron Harang.
That was big league right there, folks.
Miami wastes a leadoff double in the top of the 7th inning. We head to the stretch, still tied, as Aaron Harang twirling a gem at home again against the Marlins. With the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta folks. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. We invite you to purchase a Pay It Forward ticket pack and help support Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Each Pay It Forward package includes a game ticket, a Braves sweatshirt, blanket, and a $5 donation to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Enjoy a day at the ballpark and know that you've helped support children in the process. Visit Braves.com/payitforward now. Christmas in July program today for the Braves. And here's a look at that stadium blanket. Joe was singing its praises the other night.
Yeah, it's going to be a great blanket for the postseason this year. It's fleece lined. It's like a sweatshirt material with the Braves A logo on it. Pretty cool.
And a tip of the cap to the Braves and their wives and girlfriends, the front office staff who went out to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta today. That Christmas in July program is so important, obviously for the kids who are undergoing treatment, but I think for the Braves players too. I think it reminds everybody just how fortunate we are to work in life's sandbox, as it were.
Yeah, it's a great day. It's a great day for the patience and very rewarding.
So Evan Gattis starts off the Atlanta 7th. We're tied at 2. Marlins have out hit the Braves 7-6. They've left 5 on base. The Braves have left 3 so far. The lone big blow of the game for Atlanta was Chris Johnson's 2-out 2-run homer in the second. Braves have 4 hits since that inning.
Can't say enough about the job that Aaron Harang did after a leadoff double. He's showing Evan fastball, but nowhere near the plate. Good reason. He's 5 for 9 in his career against him with a homer.
Hey, we'll take a walk too.
Braves have only had their leadoff man on once.
That was the fateful second. To third, McGee gives ground, gloves, grabs, and guns across in time. 1 out. Just past 9 o'clock in Atlanta, the Braves and Marlins, another tight ball game tonight. Aaron Harang has started for the Braves, Henderson Alvarez for the Fish. Big game for Atlanta. The Nationals are idle tonight. If Atlanta can win tonight, they'll be a half game out of first place. They'll also take over the season series lead head to head with Miami. Joe mentioned earlier the good numbers the Braves hitters have head to head with Alvarez. Add Chris Johnson to that list. He's now 7 for 14 against him.
If you've never seen Henderson Alvarez pitch before, you're getting a good idea why this guy leads the majors in complete game shutouts with 3, why he's thrown a no-hitter, why he went through a stretch where they won 10 straight starts of his. And why, since near the end of May, over an 11-start stretch, he's 3rd in baseball in ERA.
There's a lot to like. Unless, of course, you're facing him. And Johnson's down on strikes. 2 up, 2 down in the home 7th.
A 4-game series gives you a great look at a ball club. You really get a good feel for who they are, what they are, how they like to play, how the manager likes to manage. And in this 4-game series, if you haven't figured it out already, the arms they have in their rotation, and they don't even have their ace and won't have him until next year, you understand why everybody likes this Miami ball club.
Yeah, they're on their way. I don't think there's any question about it. And for all the heat that they took after their payroll and big name player dump after the 2012 season, that strategy really has worked out. It may pain some folks in South Florida to admit that. But homegrowners like Yelich and Stanton. As a shot to first is speared by Garrett Jones, and he'll make the play at the bag, and that'll retire the side. And Miami sends this game to the 8th inning. They'll have their 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. We're still tied in the series wrap up. ball game just 14 short years ago. Our SunTrust Shining Moment salutes Hall of Famer Tom Glavine, who picked up a milestone on the 30th of July back in 2000.
It's a pretty cool thing right here. Bobby Cox handing Tom the lineup card from his 200th win. Pretty nice catch there by Andrew Jones, too, wasn't it?
Ho-hum, right?
That may have been what keeps Craig Biggio out of the Hall of Fame. Who knows? Great job tonight by Aaron Harang. 7 innings, 7-hit ball, gave up 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and now it'll be up to the bullpen to carry that on.
And the first man out of the chute is Jordan Walden. Tough inning for Jordan. 2, 3, and 4 for the Marlins. Valdespin, Stanton, and McGee. Kind of in this run of 4 straight innings with the Miami leadoff man reaching. And a 96-mile-an-hour fastball is fouled back. Strike 1 to Valdespin.
It's one of those ambush swings that Valdespin was famous for in New York when we first started hearing about him. A bunch of pinch hits for the Mets, and some pinch hit homers too.
That's off the plate and an even count. Light schedule in the National League tonight. First final was in this afternoon. The Phillies beat the Giants 2-1. Cole Hamels had a 10 strikeout game today.
Phillies have won 2 games since the All-Star break.
2.
Cole Hamels pitched both of them. 1 here.
Oh, that got Marty Foster.
Looked like Evan fanned on the pitch, and it nailed the umpire. In the dirt. Might be whispering in Evan's ear right now. Can you give me a little better effort on the next one?
Two balls, 2 strikes. And out of play by Valdespin. When does Don head up to the Hall of Fame? Does he go tomorrow? Saw him in the press room earlier today. Usually Don Sutton.
Yeah, I thought he'd already gone. You're right. He's here.
Ground ball to second. And Valdespin's retired for the first out. This is a very special weekend for Don. Major League Baseball Hall of Famer in his own right. Let's get back to our AT&T Uverse trivia question this evening. With Tom Glavine going in this weekend, against which former teammate did Tommy have his most career strikeouts?
I'm going to stick with Ron Gant.
That's a good one. I mean, it could be any team. It could have been somebody from the Mets who's a former team. I'm going to say Mike Piazza.
Well, that's a good one.
Oh, so was that. Stanton robbed by Freeman.
I didn't think of that angle. Huh.
You have time to change your mind as we look at the replay at first.
This is a great play. Saved a double. Saved at least a double with Stanton running. No, I'll stick with Ron.
Being a right-hand throwing first baseman helped Freeman on that play. And that's the second out for Casey McGee. All right, you say Ron Gant, I say Mike Piazza. Let's see if either of us is right.
Big cat.
Got him 18 times. This will be Walden's lone inning. His spot's due first when we head to the home eighth and the top of the order. McGee 1 for 14 now against the Braves in the series. We've seen both Morris and Dunn in the series. Morris has been impressive. Dunn has had some issues.
And they both throw hard.
A paint job over the outside corner. 2-2.
That was blistered in there.
In the air to center. Will it hang up for BJ? Yes. He makes the running catch to his right. And Walden works a perfect top of the 8th inning. Braves bench will be in play when we come back. We're still tied 2 apiece. Two apiece. We invite you to come see the Braves and Padres play this weekend. A 4-game series that will carry over to Monday afternoon. You want to join us on Sunday for the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. We'll have a very special viewing party on Braves Vision as Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, and Bobby Cox make their Hall of Fame induction speeches. Everyone in attendance will get a limited edition Hall of Fame poster. That's courtesy of SunTrust. For more information, visit braves.com/tickets today. It's an odd 5:05 start time on Sunday evening. So we hope you'll make your plans to join us as Tyler Pasternak pinch hits for the Braves' Jordan Walden. And he got jammed badly. Echeverria charges, had a little trouble, but was able to make the play. And Jones with a breadbasket catch at first gets Pasternak for out number 1.
Tyler wasn't the only guy that got jammed on this play. I mean, right off his thumbs. And Jones, I mean, he got tied up down there low. Thought on the double clutch Tyler might beat it out, but when you get jammed, it's tough to get out of the box right-handed.
Something you don't see too often in Major League Baseball today. A hitter seeing a starting pitcher for a 4th plate appearance. Let's see if that helps Upton, who's 1 for 2. As Joe mentioned, 3 complete games for this man.
Right. All shutouts.
And very economical. He's about to throw his 98th pitch. Tomahawk high for Upton. 2 balls and a strike. Popped up, shallow center. And Ozuna's there with Valdespin pointing the way. Upton's retired, 2 away.
We talked earlier tonight about how his last 2 starts have been pretty ugly, but in the 10 starts leading into that, the team had gone 10-0 in those 10 starts. He was 4-0. Now the last one, if you just joined us, he got knocked out early by the Giants because he took a line drive off the shin and had to come out, and took the loss despite giving up just 1 earned run. The rough start on July 11th was against the Mets. 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs.
Well, he's been awfully impressive tonight. He's turned around his season. He's in a 2-2 tie and sends this game to inning number 9. Anniversary to you as we get back to our Coors timeless moment. You'll never forget this day, will you?
No, that was wild and woolly. Pine tar incident at Yankee Stadium. Tim McClellan, who has still been umpiring despite the fact that George wanted to kill him there, was the man who made the call. And we had to get Joe Brinkman off of George. Late great Dick Hauser was the manager.
And while it won't list that way on the back of your bubblegum card, that was your first major league save.
Yes, it was, actually. Kept telling Brinkman to let him go, and Joe kept saying, "You got him? Are you sure you got him?"
So the infamous Pine Tar game. Billy Martin.
Doesn't seem like it was that long ago, boys, but it was.
And Craig Kimbrell's on to pitch the 9th for the Braves. He's got Jones, Ozuna, and Saltalamacchia. The Braves will have the heart of their order coming up the bottom half. And Craig misses outside with ball 1.
Craig has only been in 1 game in this series, and that was the first one, and boy was he in trouble. Tie game in the 9th, just like right now. He walked 2, gave up a single. Bases loaded, nobody out, and he got out of it with 2 strikeouts and a line drive out to second base.
He's had to work hard. Over his last 10 outings, he's had to work very hard, I think. Pitches in the mid to upper teens. Some of that's to be expected as a strikeout pitcher. Strike out the side, that's a minimum of 9 pitches. But fastball command at times has been an issue for Craig. It was, as Joe mentioned, in the first game against the Fish. But he's ahead of Jones here, a ball and 2 strikes. Strike 3 at the knees. Jones frozen. Nothing wrong with that fastball. Perfectly placed and 99 miles an hour.
What a pitch. That is unhittable. 99 in that spot.
Here's Marcell Ozuna. He scored the first Miami run. He led off the 5th with a walk.
I think Marty Foster is wised up to those pitches that kind of get by Evan. I'm going to go over here on this side.
He's bringing it tonight.
I like what Evan's doing to his target. He's setting up, but he's setting up early and giving him a real good look at his glove.
One ball, 2 strikes for Ozuna. Saltalamacchia has had a good night tonight. He's the on deck batter. And on the ricochet, that'll make its way to the lower bowl.
There are times where Craig throws his fastball that it looks like he was almost like he's backing off of it a little bit, and every time he does that I look up and it was 98 or 99. Those times where he's not really using what looks like max effort.
The easier he tries, the harder it is to hit, perhaps, for Craig. He's ready to make his 12th pitch.
And our machine is not stuck. Uh-oh, that messed up the consistency. He went from 98 to 99. Ozuna's doing a good job of fighting off these fastballs. Got to figure there's a slider coming at some point.
There was. It pops away from Gaddis. Ozuna on the run, and he's going to make it to first. So the wicked slider pops away from the Braves catcher. And on the wild pitch, Ozuna's at first for Saltalamacchia.
Must have hit Evans' shin guard. Breaking ball down and away. Yep, got the inside of his right shin guard that caused it to skip away that far.
So watch out for Saltalamacchia. Back-to-back doubles tonight.
Ozuna has 3 swipes. Wouldn't put it past Redmond to try to run. Maybe trying to save that hole though for Saltalamacchia in case he can pull one through there. That's what Garrett Jones did here a couple of nights ago when Kimbrel had walked McGee to lead off the inning.
Marlins brought Saltalamacchia home to catch for the next couple of years. He's only 28. Born in West Palm Beach, which used to be the spring training home of the Braves. One ball, one strike.
Yes, he did.
You're right. Joe West rung him up. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Curveball, and that got too far out there. He knew it.
That one all the way to the backstop. Another wild pitch, the second of the inning, and now the go-ahead run in scoring position with 1 out.
Like you said, nothing's been coming easy, or it just seems that way, I guess. I mean, he really pushed this one up. Evan was in a good position, catching position to rise up to try and grab it, but at that velocity, too late to get to it.
And promptly a single into center field. Late break by Ozuna. They're going to bring him home. Upton's throw toward the plate. It is on line but late. And the wild pitch, not one really, but 2 of them in the inning, cost the Braves dearly. An RBI single for Saltalamacchia gives Miami a 3-2 lead.
I thought when Ozuna froze and actually may have taken a step back to second base in case the line drive was going to be caught, that they may have a shot at him. Froze, looked. He didn't actually take a step back, but he waited till the ball cleared. BJ got it in as fast as he could, made an accurate throw, but just too late.
So now the Marlins have taken a 1-run lead. Echeverria will try to bring home Saltalamacchia, who took second on the throw to the plate.
Kind of tough to accept the fact that they've taken the lead. The go-ahead run scored by a guy who struck out.
A shot to the right side will get Saltalamacchia to third. Echeverria is the second out. We've talked a lot, and we talked about it in the open, about little things for the Braves. Well, in this inning, 2 little things were big. 2 wild pitches set the table for the Fish. Now Donovan Solano is going to hit for Alvarez, who will be taken down after 8 stellar innings.
Solano's average is up because he's had a great series. 5 for 9 with a double.
Solano had a 4-hit game here in game 2. The Braves walked him in the 8th inning, and one of the Marlins beat reporters asked him jokingly, "Do you think they were pitching around you?" He laughed because Giancarlo Stanton's sitting behind him. 101 pitches for Alvarez in his 8 innings. He walked 1, struck out 4.
That's their closer. Cishek getting ready. What a night for Saltalamacchia.
In the air to right, and that's tailing toward Jason Hayward, who's there to make the play. Craig Kimbrell struck out 2. He gave up a hit, but 2 wild pitches loom large in the 9th. Last call for Atlanta, now down a run. It's a 3-2 game.
Of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
It's 3-2 Miami. They score a run in the 9th off Braves closer Craig Kimbrell. Before we tell you who's up for the Braves in this fateful 9th inning, we invite you to join us for the 5th annual Alumni Weekend, Friday, August 8th through the 10th, a big series against the Washington Nationals. Friday night, it's the Braves alumni roll call on the field. And then Saturday, the pregame Legends versus Legends softball game. Greg Maddux, Ryan Klesko, Phil Negro, Tom Glavine, and other great Braves are all scheduled to attend. We hope you'll make your plans to join us.
That was a tough inning. I mean, he was throwing really well. Struck out a guy, and he reaches on a wild pitch. And another wild pitch puts him in scoring position. This guy's been good, and there's a lot of teams that like to have him if he becomes tradable in the next week. He's been in 2 games in this series. He's faced 7 guys, and he struck out 4 of them.
I don't know how they could trade him. If Marlins win this game, they'll be 7 behind the Braves, who would be the wild card team right now. And Cishek, as we've told you, has been letter perfect in this ballpark in his career. We'll start with Freddie Freeman, who's 1 for 10 against him with 6 strikeouts.
He is a sinker slider guy, but he throws hard, harder than most from that arm angle.
Nothing in 2. Cishek has not allowed a run in 14 games in this ballpark, and he's 7 for 7 in saves. No time like the present to change that.
Good cut. That was 93. That's rushing it up there from that angle.
No balls, 2 strikes. Did he go? No. Joe West said no. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Beg your pardon, 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the air to left. Yelich playing deeply. Gallops over toward the line and gets there for the first out.
They'll give up a single. They're just trying to cut down on extra base hits. So all Yelich had to do was cut across.
Alvarez and Cishek now have set down 8 straight Atlanta hitters. Here's Justin Upton. He's got a perfect night at the plate. Upton 2 singles and a double. He's 3 for 3.
The only guy that's reached safely against Cishek in the series is Johnson.
If Braves bring him up in the 9th, I like our chances. The Braves this year are 17 and 14 in 1-run games. Boy, the Marlins 23 and 16. This is their 40th 1-run game.
Pitching.
1 ball, 1 strike. Jason Hayward is on deck. He scored 1 of the 2 Braves runs tonight. Tipped into Saltalamacchia's glove. It's now 2-2.
When they opened their new stadium and brought in all those veteran players, traded for Reyes, and those signed Reyes, brought in a bunch of other guys. They also brought in Heath Bell to be their closer, remember? And this guy kind of served an apprenticeship under Heath Bell, who wasn't that good for them. And this guy then took over as the closer.
A little low. A walk would be welcome.
But that's where he is so effective. That's 94, and it was down below the zone, but with real good sinking action.
Fly ball to right, but Stanton should catch that one, and he will. Yelich in left, Stanton in right. Those are the first 2 outs of the inning. Upton upset. He thought he just missed it, and very well could have. It's all up to Hayward to keep the game alive now.
Both Freddie and Justin have power the other way, but Cishek has done a good job of making sure that they have to hit the ball out the other way to tie the game.
Outside corner strike for Jason. He's 2 for 7 against Cishek. One of those hits a home run, so that gives you hope. Oh, with the outside corner, that thing broke about a foot.
Yeah, backdoor slider. If he hangs on here for the fish and closes this out, they'll be within 5 games again of 500. PNC pitch tracks right on the corner.
Well, they could be a wild card, if you'll pardon the pun, at the deadline. We know Jeffrey Loria is their owner. We know how passionate he is. They pull within 3 or 4 games in the next 4 or 5 days. They may add to this team.
Well, and it looks like they're going to climb into 3rd place if they win here tonight, too, because the Mets are getting shut out.
2-2. Yeah, the Mets are getting clobbered by Milwaukee 6-0. Dylan G started that game for New York.
New York had climbed over them last night.
Fly ball to right, not deep enough. Stanton is there, and the Marlins have taken 3 out of 4 from the Braves in Atlanta. What a night for Henderson Alvarez. 8 innings of 2-run balls. Steve Cishek still hasn't given up a run in his career in this ballpark. And the Marlins edge a little closer to the Braves in the standings and break Atlanta's hearts in the 9th by a 3-2 final score.